Let's see now some tips and tricks of animation and post-merge. There will be times you will desire some objects be hidden at some point on timeline. Let's suppose that our character here be a little bit bald and his hair will appear on the back part behind the head. I will draw the hair from the second frame to the end because it's not visible on the first frame. Notice that when I have the hair selected or just one single point selected, it shows me here below that the only moment where these objects are visible is where this different color is on timeline. Here the hair doesn't appear and here it appears. Down here below, Arttista always show about selected objects, where they appears and where it's not.
Let's draw now the next hair frame.
Now the next frame. And now this last frame. Let's create another detail here, a ponytail. That will appear only from the third frame to the end. On this frame it appears here, on this frame appears here, and on this last frame it appears here. You can make an object appear and disappears all the time on the timeline. For example, if I draw an object and select this object, it shows here on timeline that this object appears on the first frame. As soon as I get advancing on my timeline, it shows to me that this object appears also on these frames. If I go to here, to this position on timeline, object will be shown to here. But if I click here, for example, at the frame 8 on timeline, and I go to the animation panel and press here or press Ctrl F7, this object will disappear from this part on timeline. So the object is visible until here, they disappear and then gets back. If I desire that this object disappears from the frame 4 to back, I should press Ctrl F6 or I can go here in the animation panel. So here it disappears, appears here, disappears again, and appears again from here. If I want that disappear from this position to the end, I press here. So they disappear from this point to the end. If I want that this object appears again on this position, I can press on this button or I can press F7 that it will appear again, copying the last frame to here. This frame content panel is very important. You should get used to it because you can control who appears and who disappears on the timeline all the time. So let's see all the functions. Ctrl F6 will hide every selected object from this point on timeline to back. And F6 will do the opposite, will show every selected object from this point on timeline to back. This guy here, make it appears on the current frame, and this one, make it disappears. This guy here, show from the current frame to the front, to the end. I can also use this button, this F8 function, to clear the animation from this point, from a position on timeline to the end, exactly as I did here. So F8 can also clear the animation from a position to the end. And this guy here will hide selected objects from the current position on timeline to the end. One important thing that we can never forget is to always associate every new shape or object to some bone, because post-merge it considers all objects that are associated to bones. Otherwise, the post-merge will be not okay when you try to insert and do the post-merge in your current character position on screen. If you notice here, all the head bones that belongs to the head are very close to the head. It happens on the first, the second and the third frame. On the fourth frame, you can notice that the head points, due to the circular movement of the head, starts to get away from the bones. And on the fifth frame, it's getting worse. How do we fix it? We're gonna create two versions of the head. One version will appear on the frame 1, 2 and 3, and in another head that will appear on the frames 3 and 4. The head shape will be the same, but what will change is the bones assignment, which point will be assigned to which bone. So hands on. We go to the frame 4 and we do this, Ctrl C, Ctrl V. Now we have two heads. If I click here and move to here, we can see that the other head is behind. Let's click on the new head, go to the frame 3, the third frame. Then we go to the animation panel and we'll tell Arttista to hide this head from the third frame to back. If you notice down below on timeline, you see that the head will appear from frame 4 to frame 5. Now let's get back to frame 0, where this new head is hidden. You can see here that selected points are appearing and here they are not. It's because this is the another head. Let's select this original head and tell Arttista that from frame 4 to the end this head will not exist. So we got this, our original head on the frame 1, 2 and 3 and the new head on the frame 3 and 4. What I will do now is the new head bone assignment on the frame 4. I'm gonna pick everybody here and assign to the nearest bone. Also these points, Ctrl B, these points here to that bone and the rest to the head bone. I don't need to do nothing here because this is the old head and it is already assigned to the bones. Let me fix this. Now, if I move this bone, nothing happens. Only this bone will make our bone assignment valid. This is valid only in this frame. In this frame, on the prior frames, this is not valid because the head isn't there. Our last animation tip is about staples. They are great to help you select some objects on the scene. For example, we saw in the prior tutorials that we have to select the face of this character so many times. So we can do this. I will create a staple. The staple is created. I will select the staple first, the eyes, the nose, the mustache, and the beard. And I will create a group. I will call it face. Now, every time that I click on this staple, sorry, it's missing a mustache part. I just have to add it to the face group. Every time I click on this staple, I can move all the face at the same time. Let's create another staple for the eyes. I select the staple first, the pupil from each eye. I select the staple first, the eye's pupil, and I create the group called eyes. And now I can move my pupils. Now let's create another group for the eyelids. I staple. I select it first. Then these 2 points from each eyelid, and I create a group. Now, as we selected just the first points of each eyelid, I can animate the eye closing or another move that we want to do. We could create a huge number of groups that will help us to animate, like some parts of the head or the sleeve. Let's insert the staple. We select the staple first. We select the points that we need, and let's create a group. Notice that it is much more easier to select some objects or parts of object using staples, especially when you have a lot of objects on the scene. We could have a staple just for these 2 points of the beard. Notice that I draw the mouth. I put the mouth over the head. And now, just controlling the staple that evolves these 2 points of the beard, I can make the mouth appear and disappear. This is great for animation and make the entire process much more easier. One interesting thing is that in the face group that evolves the nose, even that on a different frame, I can add this nose to the group. So here we got this face, and here we got this face with another nose. Let's export our character the way it is with all these staples to our shape library. I will call it S3. I will start a new drawing, and now I will import our character to here on the first frame. Notice that all the staples they came together, and I can easily put the beard more to below, move the eyelids, and easily makes him looks to the side. On the second frame, I will import another angle from our character. I click here, holding the shift. I'll select the third angle. And now I will do the same. Eyelids a little below. I'll look to the other side. And the beard a little bit. Fixing the mouth. So, very easy. Staples makes everything easy to select and to control, and is a huge and an amazing tool that will help you a lot in your animation creation process. And when you mix this with post merge, you got the whole world in your hands.